Yes, we do. Thank you. Lauren Sheely's with us today. Always a pleasure. I see I'm going to need my book, so talk amongst yourselves. As you probably know or have heard, I'm the associate minister here, Trish Morris, not quite as organized as David Howard. But still happy to be with you this morning. David Howard is our senior minister, for those of you who may not know. And he is finishing up his sabbatical. He will be returning to us next week. And I am glad to be with you for one more Sunday here, although I'll still be around. But it's been fun to take this little sabbatical of our own while he's away. So welcome. Glad you're here this morning. And I do want to take just a moment for those of you. I know that we have some of you online who may be finding us for the first time. We're glad that you've done that. Thank you. And those of you who might be here for the first time in the building, we want to welcome you. And please do stop by the desk right outside the sanctuary. There's a welcome packet that has some information about Unity and about us. And it also has a welcome card that we'd love for you to fill out just so we can know more about you and what you're looking for from us, and we can also sign you up to get our weekly newsletter, so please do that. So however you're joining us, welcome. I do want to, we do have a few announcements, so I will run through those very quickly. Want to remind us that for those of you who've been around for a while, you know that we have partnered with Family Promise of Greater Denver, who work to house homeless families at churches throughout the year. And the pandemic has changed that model, so they're no longer in the building. And Family Promise has actually been putting them in motels for the past almost 2 years. But we are continuing our financial support of that program. And so we'll be sending another check this month to support all that they are doing to keep families in homes or in somehow sheltered. So if you'd like to make a donation towards that, we invite you to do that. You can do that via the website, the donate button. There's a Family Promise option. So, and thank you, because your continued support has meant that we've been able to honor our financial contribution to them. So thank you for that. Also want to let you know that next Sunday, as I said, will be David's Sunday back, and we're also welcoming our newest members to the congregation. We have 11 new members to welcome. Yeah, I know, it is awesome. So a lot to celebrate, and to do that, yes, we'll be clapping for you. We'll be clapping for them formally next Sunday, and it's also, I didn't say this because I have assumed, it was so silly, that David's been watching the services. I think maybe he has, but his birthday is Friday. So we'll be sure to celebrate his birthday too. So welcome home, happy birthday, welcome to the congregation. So we're doing a community meal in the yard next door, David and Jay's house. They've given us permission. And we're also catering food. So we'd love for you, actually we need for you to sign up. You can do that on the website. Just let us know how many people are coming, and if you're a carnivore, omnivore, all of that good stuff. And that will really ensure that we have food for you. So please sign up. That's next Sunday. I also want to let you know that the Mark Ehrlich's event that was scheduled for this past weekend has been rescheduled. We just didn't have enough people registered. Another reason you need to sign up in advance. So he is offering that later in October, and he's going to do it virtually to hopefully make that more accessible to more people. That also is on our website. Please check it out and sign up if you'd like to attend. We encourage you to do that. David also is going to jump right in with a metaphysical Bible interpretation class. He's going light. He's jumping back in light, you can see. It's funny. Okay, all right. Yes, actually, Unity has a wonderful, rich history of this approach to the Bible, a metaphysical approach to the Bible, having co-founder Charles Fillmore put together the resource of the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, also a light endeavor. And so this is a great opportunity to learn a deeper meaning, certainly than a literal interpretation, and perhaps one that you may not have considered before from a metaphysical vantage point. So again, you can sign up for that online. It starts in mid-October. Just a reminder for those of you who are online with children, please stay on both Facebook and YouTube. There will be a lesson for the children, Stomping Out Disorder. Whoa, I might have to attend that one. On the power of order. So that'll be at 11:15 online. So take advantage of that. 2 quick announcements that I don't have slides for are the women's, let me restate that. It was the women's retreat crew that put on yet another garage sale last Sunday. I don't know how they do it, but they made over $1,000. My garage sales, I know. I'm like lucky to get $200, and I've been out there all day. But they do have plenty of stuff left over, and this is what I want to tell you about that. Carol Walton, who might be here, asked, yes, there's a lot of women's clothing left over that they want to get to a good home, so they're going to take it to Dress for Success, but they need hangers. They have to be on hangers. So they've just asked if you have extra hangers, bring them next Sunday. That will help them out, and they can deliver those to Dress for Success. The other thing I wanted to say, Sisters in Spirit are providing a light fellowship for us after the service right outside. See? Outside, we can do it. There's shade. So just go out the east doors and you can grab a bite to eat, and there'll be some seating out there as well, so you can have a little time of connection after the service. So thank you, Sisters in Spirit, for taking that on. We appreciate that. And if you want to form a group to do the same, let me know. All right, thank you. That covers these announcements from your broadcasting system this morning. Today I am continuing on. This is our final Sunday that I'll be working with the book Broken Open by Elizabeth Lesser, How Difficult Times Can Help Us Grow. And so my reading today obviously comes from that book. Viktor Frankl, a brilliant Australian psychiatrist who survived the Nazi death camps and wrote Man's Search for Meaning, one of the most transcendent books of the 20th century. Within it, he developed a revolutionary theory of psychological thought called logotherapy, which in a nutshell is about searching for the meaning in one's baggage, something he knew quite a bit about. During the Holocaust, Frankl lost his beloved wife and his entire family. He lived through 3 years of starvation, torture, and heartbreak in 4 concentration camps. When the camps were liberated, he returned to Austria, married again, and opened his baggage for the world to see. If Viktor Frankl was able to transform the despair of the death camps into the search for meaning, then we too can do this, even in the darkest moments when we are sick or troubled or afraid. In the midst of his nightmare, Frankl discovered that it did not really matter what we expected from life, but rather what life expects from us. We needed to stop asking about the meaning of life and instead to think of ourselves as those who are being questioned by life daily and hourly. What matters, therefore, is not the meaning of life in general, but rather the specific meaning of a person's life at any given moment. At this given moment, you have exactly what Frankl had in Auschwitz. You have what no Nazi SS guard was ever able to take from him. You have your soul, what Frankl called the last of the human freedoms, the freedom to choose one's attitude at any given set of circumstances. When you exercise the last of the human freedoms, when you choose to learn and to grow from the weight of the world, you are putting your soul in charge of your life. You are choosing not the attitude of your smaller and more fearful self, but rather the attitude of your soul, which is hopeful, expansive, and eternal. Sorry, I jumped the gun on that. So from that, I know I need to work on transitions, and I need to not say that out loud. So I'm going to invite you, as we do every Sunday, to just affirm our creed together. That just sort of begins us grounding in this truth that we know as we move forward in our service. So together, please affirm with me. Our God is love. Our race is human. our faith is oneness. To a time of prayer, I ring this crystal bowl. We ring this every Sunday just to allow the sound to resonate with our heart chakra. It's said to be tuned to our heart chakra. So we let that open us up in a very energetic and physical way.
Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place.
So we just take a deep breath into that presence of love that is in this space because you are in this space. And we know no matter where you are, God is. And so indeed, no matter where you are this morning, you are in the presence of love. And so just relax for a moment in that, taking a deep breath, allowing anything that might keep you from this time and space to fall away as much as possible. Knowing and claiming that this time that we share together is meaningful, serves a purpose. So as we open up in prayer, we open up to the great purpose that is working in and through our lives right now. And we trust the power of that divine love to guide us and support us, to heal us, to reveal to us anything that may need to be healed, and to guide us in an ever expansive expression of that truth that we are, that soul that we are the home of, as it expresses into the world, recognizing that we are the living expressions of divine love. And so we open up to that. We let whatever may be in our lives, on our hearts and on our minds, be released into the power of that truth and that knowing. For we know that perfect love casts out all fear. And now we also invite, or we really hold within this sacred time and this space, anyone in our lives that is struggling in any way, experiencing discomfort or challenge. We hold them in this light too, knowing the truth for them. And may they be uplifted, guided, healed by the love that is moving in and through their lives right now. So we see them as ourselves opening up to the fullness of that love. Healing, setting us free, and ever more revealing the truth of who we are. And for this opportunity to know it and to claim it, we are grateful. And so it is. Amen.
There are days when I feel so afraid I can hardly remember to breathe. When reality crashes in wave after wave, pulling me further beneath. So what's the point in planning for a future if it all can be stolen away? It's all I can do to hold on and survive when the colors have faded to gray. But my children need so much more from me, and it gives me the strength to go on. Whatever may come, all that matters now is where I go from here. There's an easier way if I live for today. The beating of my heart is all that matters. Love makes sense of all of my chaos in ways I can never explain. Turns all of my sadness into a smile, helping me live life again. It's the light of my children. It's the sound of their laughter once more. It's a glimpse of a life I dared only to dream, and a dream love can only restore. And I know that some may not understand, but it's guiding me safely to shore. Not afraid anymore. All that matters now is where we go from here. There's an easier way if we live for today. The beating of our hearts is all that matters. It takes me far away. There's an easier way if we live for today. The beating of our hearts is all that matters.
Thank you, Lauren. Good to have you back. Good to have you all back. We were all a little tense last week without Martha and the band. But we got through it. So yes, how many of you been following along with this talk from Broken Open, give or take? Okay, most of you. Good, thank you. So I shared with you that I just kind of happened back upon the book. Actually, someone else was reading another book by Elizabeth Lesser. And so I was reminded of this one and started back on it. And I've just found it, I've heard from some of you who've purchased it and are finding it helpful. I have found it applicable to some of what we're experiencing just as a result of being alive during a pandemic. And all that has the potential to be breaking open in us. And so I've continued to share that with you, and I've hoped that it has been meaningful. I'll just review quickly. We began by considering this idea of honing our hearing for the voice of our soul, of that higher truth of us that is always really sending us messages through our life. And particularly has great wisdom and learning for us in times of difficulty, which as human beings we often don't rush into. We may want to avoid or resist. So the purpose of that was to know that those difficult times, and I get that they're painful and that it's not fun, but that they hold wisdom within them, and that there is that within us that we can trust to guide us into those deeper places that sometimes are difficult to look at. And then last week we talked about the Phoenix process, which is Elizabeth's name for the transformational process as she sees it. We related it to the mythical figure, or maybe mythical, remember? I don't know, of the phoenix. Every 500 years was said to purposefully build this fire, and in the search for his truest self, to let burn in the fire that which was restricting his truest self from expressing those perhaps limiting beliefs or habitual behaviors. And so he didn't die in the fire, but emerged sort of a truer version of himself. And so she reckons that, or relates that to the Phoenix process that we all are invited into and have opportunity to do when we are facing difficult times. And to recognize that oftentimes, I don't know about you, the difficult time or the difficult thing that's being revealed in us holds its own difficulty, but then we might add another layer of difficulty by, say, resisting it or judging it or avoiding it. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Okay, good. So to, again, trust that you have what it takes to look at that, and to trust that what is being revealed through that is really an indication of where you can grow more fully into this truth that we know of ourselves. And remember, we said that we don't hold this separate, and that's really what this experience, I'll tell you, I think the pandemic experience has finally done for me, and I've shared that with you a little bit, that I've tended to hold my spiritual self here and my human self here sometimes, and when I'm really struggling, I say, well, if I had this right, I wouldn't be struggling. And so I hold them separate, and there's no way for what I know to be spiritually true to penetrate or to support or to help what I'm dealing with. So I encourage you not to do that. Thank you, Megan. I've got someone really shaking their head, which is so helpful. Your masks conceal you a little bit, so I'm never sure. Thank you for doing that. I know that is not always the first choice, so thank you for wearing them, and I can see you're shaking your head, so thank you. So, really, if we were to do this book justice, we would have done a whole book study, which I'm open to, because now we're at the last half of the book, which we're going to review in about 15 minutes. And I didn't really mention this, Elizabeth Lesser is the co-founder of the Omega Institute, which some of you may know, is a nonprofit educational institute, really, that has been at the forefront of holistic teaching for 40 years. And so she's works with a couple other people. One of them was her ex-husband. They founded this together. And of course, her breaking open experience was started with her divorce from him and all that opened up, as that will do when you lose a significant relationship. Even if it's what you need to do, it is a life-changing event. So the last half of the book is really her talking about that experience for her breaking open experience, her Phoenix experience, if you will, and all that revealed to her, even though it was painful and difficult. And she lost friends, and the family had to reacclimate, all of that. So, and then also through her experience at the Omega Institute, she had access to hear from other teachers and other people who were in that experience or having had that experience of sort of being broken down in order to find what was truest in their life and for them. And so I'm just sharing a few highlights of those stories with you today, and I do that for a couple of reasons. Let's just go for it. Anyone in here feel a little bit broken right now? Raise your hands. A little higher. And anyone who didn't raise your hand ever been in that place and can have some compassion for that? Raise your hands a little bit higher. Yeah, okay, good. The other thing that we do as humans, God help me, I'm getting off my notes, you know what happens, but is that tendency to not share that. which also adds injury to our experience, to then think that somehow something's wrong with us, everyone else has it all together. Have any of you ever heard, this is also not in my notes, but I'm going to go for it, of wavy gravy? Oh, we've got some old hippies over here. Okay, wavy gravy, I never heard of him, was apparently the clown mascot at, I'm going to forget it. Huh? Grateful Dead, but what was the big hippie thing where y'all were outside all day, all night? Woodstock. Yes. I wasn't born yet, but I heard all about it. Woodstock. So Wavy Gravy was the clown mascot there. Don't worry, this is all gonna become spiritual in any moment. And he was famous for using his humor to sort of poke fun at himself, but also in a way to kind of raise everybody else up, but also kind of realize, oh, we're all kind of on the same boat here. And so he was famous for saying, just relax. We're all bozos on the bus. Like, we're all just on this life bus, bewildered and confused and sometimes happy and engaged. Just chill out. There's not another bus with all the perfect people, the normal people, with the good families. No, this is the bus. You're on the right bus. And you're with the right bozos. And so lighten up a little bit. As Ram Dass says in here, just don't take yourself quite so personally, right? And I get it. Listen, I'm not trying to make light of when you're in the darkness, it's not funny. I get it. But know that you're not alone, and actually have the courage to share what you're dealing with other people. Because it's in that way that we actually we learn that to normalize some of our human experience, and we actually can support each other through it. So we're all bozos on the bus. Okay, back to the notes. I love the first Phoenix process. I'll have you raise your hands too. Again, any of you parents of young children or grown children? Okay. So you are all welcomed to the fast track, the perpetual Phoenix process. If you would like to be broken open, if you want to pursue a Phoenix process of the highest order, she says, I would recommend raising children. Parenthood is a clumsy yet majestic dance into the flames. When you parent, you fall in love with a person who is always changing into someone else and who you know will leave you. Yet most parents will say that they have never given themselves to anyone as fully as they have their children. Parenthood is a never-ending journey down a wide river of worry and love. You get in the boat with your kids and you never get out. They get out. They build their own boats and row into their own destinies, usually not the way you would have told them to do it. But you stay in the original boat, always their parent, forever caring and forever boasting. Parenting, I love this. Parenting in all its stages is a spiritual path with mythic twists and turns. And here is where it gets good. And you get excellent feedback from a pint-sized spiritual master whose specialty lies in teaching you how to keep on loving, even when you're tired, scared, confused, or just pissed off. If you accept the challenge, parenting becomes a perpetual process of change and transformation, a dynamic experience of being broken open by love. And if you're not a parent, that's okay. There's plenty of other ways you can get in, but I'm just letting you know. Again, another thing that as a parent, sometimes you can feel like, boy, am I messing this up? Boy, did I not see this coming? And to know that you're in the boat with the same bozos. And that's the other thing, that when we talk about that, right, instead of pretending we've got it all together, we can actually get some real support around, well, here's what works for me. Break down this, everybody needs to know it. We don't come with information books. And that's true for any process in life. People who have been through certain things, you can learn from each other and support each other. She tells another story about a young boy named Hugo who was when he was 10 years old, was diagnosed with AML, which is a more serious type of leukemia. And she was friends with his family. And they were at a restaurant and saw the family like the next night after this diagnosis had come. And so there was a treatment plan of chemotherapy and bone marrow transplants, but it was a shock, and no one, of course, was sure what would happen. And so she talks about seeing them in the restaurant that night, and she says this: "I could practically see the cracks in their egos," as Ram Dass would say, allowing them to regard each other with the eyes of God. For that moment, they all seem to know something that God knows, that we are sent here to love each other and to help each other, and that our lives are about each other. So much of what we do each day tends to be a diversion from what our lives are really about. And again, I feel like some of that is what has been revealed to us as our lives have had to stop, recognizing some of the ways in which the things that we do are really kind of deadening or kind of routine or kind of not as meaningful. And the things that, I'll speak for myself, the things that really matter at times is like a budding teenager having a meltdown about dinner. And instead of reacting, showing up in that capacity to understand what's happening there, or somebody who is in my family who's having a serious health challenge, and how can I really be there for them, not just say that I am, right? So those ways in which I think, and there's a plethora of other stories that you have recognized, ways that you perhaps have been in a perpetual doing and going, and there's a beingness that has been neglected. And so she says this about, in correlation with this family's recognition: a traumatic event is like a knife slicing through the diversionary? Yeah, we'll go with that. Tactics, and exposing the vein of truth, the truth of what we really want, of how we really feel, of the wrongs we have visited upon each other, and of the love we crave. In our habitual lives, we exercise a foolish luxury of complaining, avoiding, and blaming. We gossip about the annoying behaviors of friends or colleagues, shutting them out of our hearts, turning our backs on their complicated beauty in favor of their obvious flaws. It seems easier to do this than to move toward each other, to take responsibility when it is ours to take, or to speak directly to others when it is theirs. All the while, the truth waits patiently until it shows up, in this instance, in the eyes of a frightened little boy. I love that idea of, to appreciate people in their complicated beauty instead of their obvious flaws. You feel that? I feel that for myself. I'm just so complicated, you just need to understand. Yeah, okay, and you have some flaws. You're a bozo on the bus, okay. But to give each other some grace and give ourselves some grace. More tales of, so here's the themes that emerged. I'm sorry I didn't say that. The importance of attitude and choice in anything that we deal with. That's regardless of how severe it is. Choice, love, I know is the other one, the deepening of the meaning of love and the expression of love. What was the other one? I'm not going to look for it. It's going to be revealed here any moment. And here's what I also want to say about this, is that starting from the reading this morning with talking about the Holocaust, it doesn't have, and now I'm talking about someone whose child is facing this difficult illness. Trust that surviving the Holocaust and enduring the loss of a child or an incurable illness, or witnessing terror, or all of these are phoenix processes of the tallest order. Come through one of them with an open heart and you light the path of the woods for all of us. But it doesn't take that, and hopefully not everybody in this room has had to have that height of an experience. And I should say, it's not a hierarchy. Your experience, your pain, your journey of growth is uniquely yours, and it is purposefully showing you what you need to be, where you need to be shown, what you need to be shown. You know what I mean? So don't hear this as, oh, these people have had this horrific, what am I complaining about, or what's my problem? I mean, you can hear that a little bit if it helps you, but know that we share the sort of bigger ones because of the light they shine on the whole process for all of us, but not in a comparative way. So the other one that she talks about, and this one I also really, the idea of choosing, right? So this guy was in a near fatal car accident, was in the hospital on his back for months and months and months. And he concluded that there were 3 hurdles to overcoming crisis. Dealing with the pain, and in that case, part of it was just medical. He had to just accept that he needed to be on some pain meds, and then also work on other ways to work with his mind to overcome some of that. Working with your attitude and using the crisis as a wake up and a cleanup call. So he says this, with regard to attitude, where your attitude is, so be you. Where your attitude is, so be your consciousness. No matter what has happened in life, you have the capacity to choose how you want to be. Allowing yourself to be guided by your core values unlocks a profound spiritual blessing. The blessing of living in the moment with grace, dignity, warmth, and kindness. And then he says this, through the crisis, I abandoned spiritual practice and instead embraced real life. That's again, you know what I mean? Getting rid of that separation that we have between our real life and our spiritual truth. Bring it together. It's the only way that it really even matters or works. His spiritual practice became the real changes that he needed to make in his own heart. The thought of really changing is downright scary. And when you are caught up in one of those chainsaw massacre cycles of life, you come face to face with some important questions. I hope that this doesn't find you all in the chainsaw massacre cycle of life, but in a roundabout way, collectively, there is a cycle going on here. There are some things being released and some things being reclaimed and some things being renewed. And so we can all ask ourselves, what really matters to me in life? What precisely do I need to learn, change, and transform within myself? And for whom or what will I take my direction and motivation? So his daily practice now is continually cleaning out the chambers of his heart, to give and receive love, to stay present to myself and to others, and to no longer flee or worry or procrastinate. So again, right within our own lives, we don't have to work for the UN. We don't have to become a Zen master. Our own lives give us ample opportunities to decide how we want to approach them, to decide the attitude we want to take, to decide what we say the purpose of our life is and how we want to serve that. I have a friend here today who shared a poem, a real brief poem with me from her dad. Years ago, she said, he sent this. I can choose to be sick or I can choose to be well. I can choose heaven or I can choose hell. I can choose to win or I can choose to lose, but best of all, I can choose to choose. So really recognize the power that we have in that, to choose. Again, not always our circumstances, but how we respond to them and what we make them mean, what they have to show us. I'll share one last story because I really love it. Much of her book, the intro part, really takes you through the dive of her impending divorce and the difficulty that was. They had 2 children together. And of course, they finally made it out the other side and gratefully are still friends and good parents to their children together, but have both since remarried. And so she tells this story. She had remarried a man that had another son, so she gained a stepson, and her ex-husband had remarried. I could talk a lot more. Should I stop? One more story, but I do have spiritual practices that are related to this. That's what you're all here for, I know. Okay, really quick, because it's really sweet. I think it's good. Her ex-husband remarried and had another son with his second wife. Eli was his name. And don't you know that her sons, the sons that they shared together, just fell madly in love with little Eli. He's their little brother, and he's little. And so they often wanted him to come over, and they wanted to babysit him, which meant she would end up babysitting him after about 30 minutes. And she recognized this sort of clench in her heart the first few times she saw him, because he looked so much like her first son. And the dissonance she was sort of having because she wasn't his mother. And of course, she was remarried and all of that, but she could feel her heart constricting around him. And one day, he really loved her pickles. She would pickle cucumbers in the fall, and they were together picking cucumbers. And he suddenly said, "What's your title to me?" She said, "What? What is your title to me?" And she said, I know you're not my stepmother, but it's like you're my double stepmother. I'm just going to call you Double Step for short. And it made her, she recognized, she had fallen in love with him. He was part of their family, of course. But she says this, I love this widening, it's the notion of widening our circles of who matters to us. And it's based on this quote by Mother Teresa: "The problem with the world is that we draw the circle of our family too small." And so she demonstrates this. When Eli said, "What is your title to me?" he was really asking, where do I stand in the circle of your family? It is not hard to understand what Mother Teresa meant when she said that the problem with the world is that we draw the circle of our family too small. The nightly news is filled with stories of small circles. Some people are called to widen these circles through important work in the world. Oh, this is where I got that. But you don't have to be a delegate to the United Nations or a volunteer in a soup kitchen to do the noble work of drawing bigger and bigger circles. Our friendships and our families, our marriages, our work relationships, all of them are circles begging for more spacious boundaries. And then this: we need wider circles and titles to relate to each other rather than those that divide us into smaller and smaller groups. Family groups, political groups, religious groups, racial groups, tribal groups. I think this may be the only way to save the world from the meagerness of our own hearts. It took a child to show me this. I had to start somewhere, so I started with Eli. I figured that if I couldn't let a child into the circle of my family, I had no right to have an opinion about the problem with the world. I love that. We start where we are, and we work with who shows up in our life, and we continue to expand that out. We're going to have a time of meditation, but I did want to say the practices that she ends up promoting for supporting you during a Phoenix process, I would say really, they're good practices for life in general. Don't you know what two of them are? Meditation and prayer. So you're in the right spot. And the third one, the middle one is psychotherapy, which, of course, if you're really in the midst of something that's overtaking you emotionally, certainly promote that as well. But she talks about mindful meditation, particularly as a tool for becoming aware of all that goes on inside of us. All that we bring to the party, all the while thinking, all these bozos on the bus just don't get it. But there's all this stuff going on in us too. So we become aware through that mindfulness practice of all that our thinking mind wants to run us around with, all of the judgments, all of the ways that we can separate. And we don't judge them, we become aware of them. And then, don't you know, as you practice that more and more and accepting what is alive in you, and you definitely, I think, will be guided to explore some of that. as it pops up. Sometimes some weird stuff pops up. I didn't know that was still running me. I just had that the other day. I could not believe it. But I got it at a different level. So go with it. And it also is a practice of stopping the resistance to what is, to be with what is within us, to be with what comes up in our mind, in our feeling nature, and to not resist it. That transfers into the world, right? That we are not quite as reactionary when we realize, hey, I bring some stuff to this. Let me think about where I am in this. What's alive in me for this? Also allows us to offer more spaciousness by not resisting what shows up. And it does take practice. And prayer, as we move into that, we would definitely include mindfulness meditation as a way of relaxing, of getting present, but we don't stop there. We move on into hopefully giving our thinking mind something nourishing, something deep to think about, letting that sort of penetrate our subconscious mind as well. Like we've been working with, no matter the circumstances, all is well with my soul. Your mind says, whoa, wait a minute. No, it isn't, no, it isn't, no, it isn't, no, it isn't. Let it just do its thing and let the truth of that sink in more deeply. And then as we can find the spaces between all the thoughts and our reactions to them, we can dip into what we call the silence, which is the access that we all have to divine mind, where we receive inspiration, where we receive divine ideas that we don't receive through our rational thinking mind. And so all of this is in support of us continuing to release anything that constricts the truth of who we are. And so I know I didn't spend much time with those, but you can get the book. She goes over them in great detail. And I'm sure that many of you are meditating and praying, but I was glad to see that that's where she landed. And so I will take us now just in a time of meditation. I know I've said a lot to you. Thank you for listening. I tried to cut things out, but they were all too good. Thank you. Yeah, so just take a moment. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, and take a breath. Just noticing perhaps anything that from what I said that may have caught your attention. Anything that is being revealed in and through you right now. Any area of your life that you might be wanting to go deeper into. Clearing the pathway for the spirit, the soul within you to be your guide. And so we just open up to recognize that voice. It is always there. It's always there. And so it is ours to fine-tune our hearing for it and to trust it. And to trust that there is a great purpose to each one of our lives. And so we open up to that being revealed to us as best we can claim it and hear it this moment in the silence. And as we move forward with our day and our week, we know we can revisit this space anytime and often, connecting with that truth within us. And so we can relax a bit. Release fear, anxiety. to a greater knowing that there is a divine order working in and through all things, and we are a part of it. May we choose wisely who and from what we take our motivation. And may we continue to understand the profound truth that we are here to love each other. And so may we open up to that love expressing in and through us as fully as we can this day.
When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray.
Thank you, Lauren. The other thing that I do want to mention is that it's occurred to me that there's got to be ways that we can promote this sort of connection here better. And now that you know you don't have to be spiritually perfect in order to connect with us, I'm just putting it out there to email me if you're interested. I'm thinking of some sort of, I don't know if I want to call it a broken open support group. But a space and a place where we can actually talk about what's going on, what's up for us, and receive support outside of this hour on Sunday. So we can do it remotely, we can get creative. But if that interests you, do email me, Trish at unitydenver.org, Trish at unitydenver.org, and we'll see what we can do to create that space. And the other thing that's come to me, and I'll talk to David about it, is to get an active meditation circle going once a week so that we are supporting each other in spending that time, making that connection, and supporting each other in that. So if you're interested in that, also text me, Trish at unitydenver.org. So, oh yes, thank you. Now is the time in our service where we offer our love offerings in support of the ministry and the work that we do here at Unity Spiritual Center Denver. Many, many of you do that online regularly, and we thank you for that. You're welcome to do that. Those of you who are remotely, you see some options there on your screen. You can almost see them. Oh, you can see them better up there, yeah. So you can do that online. You can set that up electronically, or as always, there are baskets at the back of the room. You can drop your checks or cash off when you leave. And you can always just use the old-fashioned mail. although it's less dependable than it ever used to be. But I still say use it. Didn't mean to say that. Thank you, Postmaster. You're doing a great job. And so together we just take the time to bless these offerings, knowing that they are giving in love to do the work of love. So together we affirm, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am thankful. Now we're going to hear.
Up on the heights, oh, oh, you let me go, oh, oh, you make my heart to rise from the depths below. You hold me up, oh, oh, so I can see, oh, oh, you're ever lifting me, you're ever lifting me. You lifted my head so I know you're near me. You lifted my eyes so I see you clearly. Where I belong, you are where I belong. I'm lifting my voice just to sing a new song. I'm lifting my hands just to show you I know where I belong. You are where I belong, 'cause you are ever lifting me. Oh, you are ever lifting me. Oh, up on the heights, oh, oh, you let me go, oh, oh, you make my heart to rise from the depths below. You hold me up so, oh, so I can see, oh, oh, you're ever lifting me, you're ever lifting me. You lifted my head so I know you're near me. You lifted my eyes so I see it clearly. Where I belong, you are where I belong. I'm lifting my voice just to sing a new song. I'm lifting my hands just to show you I know where I belong. You are where I belong, 'cause you are ever lifting me. Oh, you are ever lifting me. Oh, it fills my heart to know the length of your great love, and where you go, I go. You send my heart above, and nothing on earth compares. Oh God, when I'm with you, you take me higher, you take me higher. It fills my heart to know the length of your great love, and where you go, I go. You send my heart above, and nothing on earth compares. Oh God, when I'm with you, you take me higher, you take me higher. You lifted my head so I know you're near me. You lifted my eyes so I see it clearly. Where I belong, you are where I belong. You lifted my head so I know you're near me. You lifted my eyes so I see it clearly. Where I belong, you are where I belong. I'm lifting my voice just to sing a new song. I'm lifting my hands just to show you I know where I belong. You are where I belong, 'cause you are ever lifting me. Oh, 'cause you are ever lifting me. Oh, you are ever lifting me. Oh, you are ever lifting me. Oh, oh, oh.
Can I say one thing?
Yes, say one thing.
That song in particular is my Choose to Feel a Different Way song.
Yeah,
And I love music can
Loved it.
shift you right away. So I just
Excellent.
wanted to share that. That's my
Good,
favorite thing
thank
about
you.
music.
yeah. Yeah, that's a great tool. We did a women's retreat before the one that we did here, and there was such great music, and everyone said, we need to make a Lift Me Up playlist that's just playing instead of the news all the time. But just have have this music in your house going. It shifts your mood. So thank you. We're gonna have a little jam session just real quick. cut the film. No, I'll have you stand up, and we are closing out with our prayer for protection, and then Lauren will sing us out with love. Help us. Love can move the world. Yes. So together we claim, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is. Amen.
Love can move the world as the moon in the sky moves the sea. Love can cause the wars to cease. Love can move this world to peace. It's a time that begins with you and me. Love can move the world as the warmth of the sun moves the trees. Feel the wind of love increase as we move this world to peace. Come love the world with me. Come love the world with me.